What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy Adam Perez. I'm back once again with a brand new review for you guys today, as believe it or not, I'm finally diving into Titans Season 4. Now, this season really just got away from me, honestly. It was not until this last episode that wind up dropping that I realized that this season was actually split in half. I was expecting a full sort of 12 episodes, if you will, like a straight run, but we're clearly not going to be getting the second half of this at least until early 2023. So it actually almost worked out to my benefit, the fact that while I have been missing out on doing weekly episode reviews for Titans Season 4, the fact that we only have 6 episodes to really sink our teeth into right now really played into well, let me just do a review for the first half of Season 4. So this is going to be my Season 4 Part 1 review. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, look, we've been doing Titans reviews around here for quite a few seasons already. And one of the things that I feel like is very common that we talk about is the first half of Titans seasons tend to be really great, really get you focused, really fantastic in regards to giving you new tones, new vibes, new settings, new growth for our characters, great introduction to new characters. And so the building of story arcs, I feel like they always do extremely well. And so my enjoyment for the first 6 episodes is out of this world, man. There is just an intensity, something just very visceral about this season that has kind of made me look away from the TV at times, kind of cringe in the sense of like just the violence and the gore that they're certainly showing in here. I continue to really love the liberties that these writers are certainly taking in regards to separating itself from the comic books, really kind of throwing us curveballs, if you will, and I feel like they have continued to get better and better about that as each season certainly progresses, and this Season 4 is certainly no different, to say the least. So great momentum building behind them, but really the test of Season 4 of Titans is going to be what the second half is going to certainly include for us. The first 6 episodes I'm really on board with, honestly. And I think, listen, even though we do have some new characters being introduced this season, like Jinx, like Lex Luthor, Mother Mayhem, Brother Blood, the announcements of these characters even prior to Season 4 certainly had me worried. It was one of those things where I kept talking to Stuart like, man, here's another casting announcement. Here's somebody brand new coming to the team. How are they going to cohesively introduce all these characters and make their storylines work? And so far, they've been doing an incredible job. Like, I even feel like the side stories for a lot of these characters sometimes tend to kind of go off on their own and feel like separate adventures or kind of take away from the main story. And one of the things that I've been asking for is, like, if you have a big ensemble, it's nothing wrong with giving them story arcs, but you gotta weave it into the main story to make it work so it doesn't feel so disjointed. And I feel like within the first 6 episodes, they've done just that. Like, there is a little bit more clarity I would probably like towards the Gar Logan storyline. I am at least glad that Homeboy's got himself a costume this year. They're really experimenting with seeing him turn into different animals. I mean, even turning into like a bacteria in this in this latest episode, sort of thing. So really taking their chances with Gar, but I'm still a little bit lost in regards to the blood moon and the tree that he's certainly seen, and I would like to see a little bit more clarity in regards to how he is kind of connected to all this and certainly a bigger picture. But I appreciate at least the effort and the fact that it's taken us 4 seasons to get to a costume for this guy. Way too long if you ask me, but Gar I think is being handled extremely well here so far for the most part. We'll see how the second half certainly goes as his story continues to unfold. And there's just, again, there's really not much that I have issues with. The Tim Drake stuff, I do wish that he was showcased a little bit better. I mean, clearly he's still a Robin in training. Jay Lucero, I believe is his name, that's playing Tim Drake. I'm waiting for this guy to get a costume. At this point, I don't know if he's even going to get a costume costume by the end of season 4, it seems like he's still very much relatively green. Look, I appreciate the chances and the diversity that they certainly are expressing here in this season with Tim, along with his relationship and things like that. But you know, I would like to see a little bit more Tim Drake from the comics. Again, give it up to this show for at least bringing some originality, if you will, to the show, and not really being afraid to take chances. The chances they take may not always necessarily stick with me, but I appreciate the effort that they're certainly putting in here. But I think for me, and there's plenty to talk about in here, one of the main takeaways that I'm really enjoying about season 4 is the Brother Blood origin story in here. I think the idea of it being a slow burn, not just introducing us to him at his stage of being a part of, you know, being Brother Blood, and then maybe flashbacks in regards to who he was. I appreciate the fact that he isn't even Brother Blood yet until he actually steps into, you know, the pit of blood, says the 3 words that Mother Mayhem wants him to go ahead and talk about, or at least say out loud, sort of thing. But to be able to also get the flashbacks and see his growth as a person, the obstacles that he's certainly faced, the worries that he certainly has had to kind of go through in his life and his struggle to lead him up to this particular point in his life, right? That idea of not really being seen, feeling like you're being taken advantage of, or maybe laughed behind your back, sort of thing. Having somebody like Rachel in here to kind of give him this encouragement in the sense of like, hey, you're not alone anymore. I was kind of in your situation, you know, even though we're like spawns of the devil, if you will. You know, there's a much bigger picture for us, and I just really enjoyed seeing that combativeness within himself of clearly wanting to be a good person, but feeling this draw towards this dark side, and the idea of being more than what you've been given in life, and knowing that you're meant for something big. I think they've done a great job of showcasing just that struggle and that point of getting him to the pit by episode number 6 here. And so for the most part, the Brother Blood origin story, I think, is to perfection, and they've done a really great job of making it very emotional for his particular journey. And the idea of introducing us to this cult here, even with Mother Mayhem, I think has really just taken the violence for Titans just to a whole nother level that I certainly did not see in, say, a seasons 1, 2, or 3. I mean, the idea of like Lex Luthor biting the dust in the first episode, what? I mean, talk about twists. Did not see that one coming. It's one of those things, when you cast somebody to play Lex Luthor, you're under the impression that Lex Luthor is going to be around for the majority of the season and have quite the impact. But to see him meet with Connor only to throw out blood and have a gigantic snake just rip itself through his mouth and kill him in the most just tragic and horrible way. Like, I literally had to turn away. It was just so gory, and I, you know, definitely made me feel it in the pit of my stomach. And I think that's one of the things that has risen the stock of Titans. Not to say that every season needs to be that way, but the fact that they're fearless enough to really push the violence and take advantage of their rating. I mean, man, it adds a whole nother dimension to the Brother Blood storyline, and it definitely raises the stakes in the sense that nobody is really safe. And I even had that feeling even from watching when they were in Gotham in season 3, but this one definitely has raised the stakes and upped the ante a little bit. I mean, even Jinx wind up dying here in this particular episode. Whether or not she's going to come back, who certainly knows. But we've had two deaths that I did not expect, and those 2 people are newbies to this season already in regards to Lex Luthor and Jinx. There is a part of me that always thinks, listen, Lex Luthor always has a plan, so whether or not there's a part of me inside that says maybe we haven't seen the last of Lex Luthor. Like, maybe he knew something like this was gonna happen and he has prepared himself, maybe like in a backup of his body, like backing up his consciousness somewhere else, knowing that this was certainly going to possibly happen to him, and maybe he pops back up somewhere else. For all I know, look, Connor Kent's acting really troubled as of right now, since the magic sort of took hold of him and the snake came out, he's definitely relying on the Lex Luthor side of his personality. There's a part of me that's wondering, hey, with the death of Lex Luthor, has that activated something in his body with the addition of magic being plunged into his stomach with the death stroke knife sort of thing also? I don't know. I just feel like, while I definitely am surprised about the death of Lex Luthor, like I was surprised about the death of the Joker in season 3, or was that season 2? I can't recall honestly now. I think it was season 3. But it just makes me think, man, there's got to be a plan, right? Like, you can't just kill Lex Luthor off like that. And if he is truly gone, kudos to the writing team, man, for being brave enough to go ahead and certainly pull the trigger on that. Let's see here. But again, I'm really impressed with the Brother Blood storyline and what that means for the overall arch and tone and vibe of this season, and it's definitely making it quite an enjoyable one. The Connor Kent stuff has been pretty crazy too. I love the fact that they're taking, really it does feel like this run of Titans is more Jeff Johns inspired than anybody else's sort of comic book run, if you will. Like, I know that we did the you know, the Teen Titans Deathstroke storyline, the Judas contract, if you will, taking a little bit of their own liberties in regards to maybe updating the story for adapting it to television. But I feel like season 3 and season 4 is very much sort of ripped out of a Jeff Johns Teen Titans run or something like that. So I do appreciate that, but I can't lie, there is a part of me that hopes that maybe after this Titan season ends, maybe in like 4 or 5 years, we get ourselves another live action Titan season that's more Marv Wolfman and George Perez sort of inspired. But who certainly knows? Again, I'm not complaining so much. I'm just saying this does feel very Jeff Johns heavy to me. But the Connor Kent stuff, I'm really excited for, honestly. The idea of not getting an opportunity to meet your father in regards to Superman, but getting an opportunity to see Lex Luthor, it kind of really puts into concern the personality of Superman. Does he really want to meet Connor Kent? Does he feel some type of way about meeting a clone of himself that's half Superman, half Connor, you know, half Lex Luthor? I don't want to say there's animosity, but that there definitely is a hesitancy there. I personally feel like, and I think maybe even Connor Kent can kind of feel that. And I love the fact that Lex Luthor sort of brings that out of him, and it even talks about the idea of like, well, hey, you know, you do have technically 2 fathers. Maybe it's time you get to learn the Luthor side of you, and to be able to see that Luthor side of Connor Kent coming out is pretty frightening. I mean, imagining the idea of the smarts and the brains of Connor Kent, like we see in the past 2 episodes here, of him really navigating and coming up with plans on how to, you know, cause an illusion for the blood moon so it doesn't activate, you know, Brother Blood's ability to go ahead and finally turn, you know, the idea of moving satellites around and things like that. I mean, brilliant planning to certainly give the Titans certainly some time, but it's just that Lex Luthor mind mixed in with the abilities of what Superboy can certainly do with Superman's powers that's truly frightening. And so to even see like Dick Grayson confronting Connor Kent is worrisome to me, because I'm like, Dick, he can really like just snap you in half if he wants to. But Dick is playing it cool right now. Like, I feel like Dick Grayson any other time would make some really rash and hesitant decisions, but it feels like even in season 4 that Dick Grayson is kind of even growing a little bit as a leader, handling some of these kids a little bit better, especially in regards to Tim Drake's training and possibly certainly getting him ready. At this rate though, I don't think he's going to be ready by the end of the season, but I do feel like Dick Grayson has a different attitude and swag about him this year, that he's really giving these kids some leeway in regards to things before he kind of comes cracking down. But who's going to crack down on Superboy? You know, like Nightwing, poor Nightwing over here is probably thinking like, I really don't even know what I'm going to do with this kid unless he's got like kryptonite somewhere. But I do think it's pretty eye-opening to see Connor Kent have some of the same weaknesses of Superman, especially when it comes to the idea of magic being involved. But I'm really enjoying the storyline that we're getting out of Connor Kent here this week or this season so far. And even the Raven stuff, seeing her lose her abilities, clearly being drawn, and that power of Trigun and things like that, being drawn to Mother Mayhem in order to go ahead and bring back Brother Blood. But now seeing at the end of this episode, or at least by the end of this episode, she acquires her abilities back, but now we see sort of a Raven 2.0 from the comic books, as she's donned in all white with the blue gemstone instead of the black, or I should say the blue and the red gemstone also. So it's kind of cool to kind of see the progression of these characters, but I am going to be even more fascinated to see what her new power set is and what she can truly tap into with these new abilities, especially as we see Starfire trying to struggle with her brand new abilities as well. I'm even really enjoying this the Starfire and Dick Grayson storyline here of them having a kid in regards to their vision. I think it continues to make the connective tissue of these two truly are meant to either be together or at least have a relationship, and are certainly still connected in that way. And despite the fact that Dick Grayson has so many people he's slept with or talked to, you know, Starfire at this point is like, look, man, I'm kind of, whatever you guys have had or issues you guys have had, like, I'm over it. Let's just ignore that and just keep moving on, please. Especially when Dick Grayson confronts Jinx in order to either bring her onto the team or certainly ask her for help. It's like, damn, Dick, who, like, have you slept with everybody that you've worked with at some point in time? So you know, look, he's just Dick Grayson's just got that swag and leadership's, you know, player about him type of thing. But I am kind of curious to see what that vision will truly spell out at the end of the day. But even seeing like Starfire and Raven try and protect Sebastian, you know, from Mother Mayhem and turning was quite the adventure. Them going back to that diner, meeting somebody from her planet that's trying to really give her a warning, gave them an out, gave them an opportunity to go ahead and kill Sebastian, but at the end of the day, they're heroes at heart and certainly plan on trying to save Sebastian. But unfortunately, things definitely did not go that particular way of planning for Starfire and them, and now we've got Brother Blood to certainly worry about. I am kind of curious as to where the Titans wind up being vanquished to, if you will. I'm wondering if it's one of the if somebody on the team teleported them somewhere, or if that scream that Brother Blood wind up giving towards the end teleported them somewhere. Did they get sent to hell? Who certainly knows. I am going to be interested to see where they wind up popping up at. But overall, man, I'm actually really impressed with this season so far. 6 episodes in only, so first half, I definitely will probably give it an A, honestly, and we'll see how the second half certainly does, and if it can certainly keep that same momentum in regards to its very visceral storytelling and great character work that we've certainly have seen so far. But look, guys, again, not too many issues that I have with this season so far. A couple things here or there, but definitely not enough to take me away from the enjoyment that we've gotten for 6 episodes already. But again, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I certainly want to know yours, though. If there's any storyline aspects or character moments that I certainly might have missed that you guys want to go ahead and continue to talk about, please go ahead and let me know. Like, for instance, seeing how Brother Blood and Sebastian's storyline comes together, especially with Mother Mayhem involved, knowing that that's his mother, and seeing the connective tissues all the way back to something like season 1 when they wind up putting Rachel in sort of that hospital, if you will. I really enjoy seeing everything kind of come full circle and realizing that the Titans kind of left things, you know, rocks unturned and whatnot, and really let this kind of slip by them, and now they've got a bigger problem certainly on their hands. So I really enjoy the full circle storytelling that we've gotten so far. But yeah, guys, again, just my A+ opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours, so let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. If you had to grade the first part of season 4 for Titans, what grade would you certainly give it? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. But until then, I'll certainly talk with you guys later, and if anything, I may do another second, you know, review for season 4 part 2 after all the episodes have certainly dropped. So I'll definitely see you guys next year in regards to the Titans review. But until then, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you later. Bye.